Hello, Dragon Warriors. This is Mongoose Dave 2, and different from my usual video outputs, I am adding commentary to this one, partly to gauge the quality of the mic that I'm using, and also to talk about what we know so far about the Double Dragon DLC coming out this summer. Because I have it in mind to stream my first time playing as them, hopefully all the way to completion of the story. And I wanted to do it in 2-player co-op with a buddy of mine. I will be playing as Jimmy and he will be playing as Billy. And I just thought it would be fun if we could record our various conversations together. And I always have a good time playing beat-em-ups with him. For instance, he and I played through Double Dragon Neon together on the Double Dragon difficulty with relative ease, surprisingly. Because doing it by myself was very difficult. At least I thought so. So, some things that we know so far about the DLC. Something very surprising to me, Marion is going to be getting a pretty good buff. That buff being... Hold on. Her giant swing will be able to catch enemies in midair. Because right now it can't do that. And that's good for me and people that play this game like me, who prefer to not unlock the ground combo extensions, because I prefer to pop enemies up as soon as possible. So I don't like to, waste time with 5 additional hits before they get up there. It's like boop, 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 and they're up. And I can do the cool stuff. She actually used to be able to catch enemies in midair with her giant swing, but only thanks to an unintentional bug. And said bug was patched out, I believe, when they incorporated 4-player online co-op. So it can't do that anymore currently, but I'm glad they're adding it in as a feature on purpose this time. It's always nice when game developers know what the fun things are. So at the time of this recording, all we know about the DLC's release is that it's coming out sometime in the summer, which could range from the beginning of June to the end of September. I got that backwards. The end of June to the beginning of September. And we know that the movesets for Billy and Jimmy will be packed full of references from the various different Double Dragon games. Namely Double Dragons 1, 2, and 3, which includes not only their arcade versions, but their NES console ports as well. Super Double Dragon, and the Neo Geo fighting game just called Double Dragon, which is great. Great sources to pull from. And I had never played Double Dragon 3, either on NES or arcade version. So I don't know if that one has a mounted tackle pummel attack, but they're giving that to Jimmy as his, probably his running special. And I know that they can't do that in any of those other games I mentioned, besides Double Dragon 3, because I never played that one. But I know they could do it in Double Dragon Advance. So it's possible they took inspiration from that game as well. And they also mentioned Billy's running special, I'm assuming it's a special, is going to be a Guile-esque flash kick. They're both going to have a fireball as their neutral special, but it's going to work very differently from each other. Jimmy sounds like just gonna have a standard fireball, like a Hadouken from Street Fighter. And you can charge it by holding the button down, which will give it fire properties, similar to how Kunio can charge his specials and give them fire properties. And alternatively, Billy, his neutral special fireball will appear slightly above his head and hang in the air for 3 seconds before firing at the enemy. The intent is for you to pop them in the air, get the fireball to come out, which will do damage to them and keep them in the air, and then you can follow them up, do an air combo on them, and then the fireball will shoot at them, hit them again, and you can continue your combo. And I just love the thought of that.
I knew you'd be back. You need some help.
I've been training for this my whole life.
Like, I intend to make Jimmy my new main, my former being Marion. But Billy sounds like he's going to be a lot of fun too. And it'll be good for my buddy who's going to be playing with me because he prefers more technical characters like that. Like Ricky is his current favorite, all because of his glamour shot, all the different setups you can do with that. So it's nice that the Double Dragons will be somewhat technical too. Yeah, it's going to be nice to be able to use the giant swing more often in my gameplay. And funny enough, it's actually neat that they acknowledge this. Billy and Jimmy being added was not really because of fan demand. Like, the developers of River City Girls, they're fans of Kunio and Double Dragon as well. So, you know, it's not really like a big surprise, like, oh, what? Everyone wants to play as Billy and Jimmy? Well, I guess we'll have to make that happen. Like, no, of course they know that already. They just needed to get Ark on board with that idea. Greenlight the time and money dedicated to make that happen. I didn't know that hit people on the ground. Okay, let's see here. I'm blanking on what the other ones are. Oh, yeah. things that won't be in the new DLC. You're not going to be seeing any new hired assists. So, like I have Paul, there's not going to be any new characters that you can hire and make part of your team. Which is a bummer. Would have been nice. They actually did have some ideas for new ones, but it just didn't work out. I actually want Yagyu. But I killed him. Let's see. What else do I got here? Just like how I've mentioned already, they intend to make the differences between Billy and Jimmy to be like that of Ken and Ryu from Street Fighter VI, specifically, where they have similar looking attacks, but they have different properties and different uses than each other. Like, they both have the Hurricane Kick, the iconic Double Dragon Hurricane Kick, but theirs will function differently from one another, and assumingly differently from Kunio's version of it too. Okay. The in-game dialogue. With the base characters, we're used to Ricky, Kunio, Marion, and Pruvi reading the lines of Misako and Kyoko. But apparently, Billy and Jimmy will have a slightly more modified dialogue that's more tailored to their personalities. It's not going to be super different because it still has to flow properly with the original dialogue in the event that they're partnered with one of the base game characters. Let's see here. During their Twitter space, Ask Me Anything, I asked them, since we haven't seen their sprites yet, if their sprites were going to look identical, pretty much besides their color. But fortunately, it's what I had already assumed to be the case. Their bodies are going to be identical, but their heads are going to be different. Like Ken and Ryu in Street Fighter 2, or if you're fans of King of Fighters 12 or 13, like Ralph and Clark. Basically having the same bodies, but their heads are different from each other. Which is good. That should mean that their facial expressions should match their personalities. And based on the drawn illustrations, Billy's hair is longer than Jimmy's in this game. So maybe that'll be reflected in his sprite art.
Them days, baby.
Let's see. I want to go. I want to pick up a Bobo to be one of Marion's assists. Another unexpected addition. There's going to be a second training area. And it's going to be in the junkyard in downtown. And it's going to be modeled after that auto parts store, Matin, from the very beginning of the first Double Dragon game. And they still haven't unveiled who are going to be replacing Billy and Jimmy as the heads of the dojos where you learn new attacks. But I am glad they're going through the trouble of making it so they're not just like clones. And they'll be talking to themselves when getting new attacks, when they're being made playable. Like, it just proves how limited they were on time to make Ricky and Kunio playable in the first River City Girls, because they were very much just kind of tacked on at the very end. They mentioned their special grabs that they'll have. They're going to both have an Izuna drop, but one of them is going to be able to do it from the air, and the other one from the ground. Bannon mentioned that Billy is kind of more of the aerial fighter, so I imagine his Izuna drop will be the one done from the air. Which is great. Izuna drop is probably my favorite type of grapple attack. With the spinning pile driver coming in a close second. Which is why Ricky was my favorite character for a while in the first River City Girls. Let's see, anything else?
Hey, welcome back.
I'm not sure how I feel about this detail just yet,
I ain't picky. Your money's given
but
me.
one of the Lee brothers has an attack which causes them to turn into an 8-bit version of himself during it. I normally don't like moves like that are, you know, overtly silly. Like Kunio's burger eating move in this game. Like, in my opinion, it doesn't really look cool. And it's not very useful either, because he kind of gets stuck in a lot of recovery frames and can't really cancel into anything else. So, to me, it's kind of a useless move. So hopefully that won't be the case with this 8-bit reference move. It was stated they both have the rising knee attack, the hyper knee, and that is one of their heavy attacks. I imagine it's their up heavy, like with Misako. Jimmy's down heavy is the hyper uppercut.
Belly flop.
Let's see. And finally, unless I forgot anything, doesn't look like it. There is one more huge addition that they haven't talked about just yet. But it's something that fans have been asking for. So, I can only imagine what that could be. Fans ask for a lot of nice things to be added onto this game. Like, admittedly, as much as I enjoy the story and the side quests, I would like to have a sort of arcade mode or survival mode where it's just purely fighting wave after wave of regular enemies followed by a boss fight. So that should be it for now. Hopefully the audio for this video doesn't suck. And I'm hoping that when I play the DLC with my friend, it works out well, because we'll be playing it online. So, yeah. Hopefully all my connections work out properly. So, I'll leave you with that. And the next time you hear from me should be when the greatly anticipated Double Dragon DLC comes out. All right, see ya.